About 1 in 6 students these days suffer from a mental illness of some kind. This can affect their work and school for multiple reasons, from not being able to focus, not completing work, or just not showing up at all. Approximately 50% of students will drop out of high school. Another 70% will end up in juvenile facilities.
Oftentimes people have very physiological symptoms. They have shortness of breath, get their palms get really sweaty, they are very kind of hyper alert about what's happening, and then it's not uncommon for them, their thinking when they're in that hyper aroused state, for them to start thinking, maybe obsessing about something that they think is a problem that isn't really a problem.
Some other symptoms of anxiety can include difficulty thinking, a fear of impending doom, feeling trapped in your own mind, stomach aches, and many more. Symptoms can vary person to person. This can affect school life in many ways, from being a bothersome distraction or plainly preventing any work from being done.
For a lot of people it feels different, but for me at least, it feels sort of like, I feel it sort of almost physically, but I feel it like sort of like a really like dense ball that just like sits in the pit of my stomach, and it makes it really impossible to do anything because that's like all I can focus on.
Anxiety feels different for everyone who has it. For some people, it feels like a really high wall that they simply can't climb over. For other people, it feels like there's too much going on in their brain. With the high stress of school, anxiety can sometimes feel heightened, from that of presentations to simply showing up.
Testing especially gives me really bad anxiety because I know that I'm more likely to not do well because of it, and just in general the way that a lot of teachers structure their classes makes it really hard.
Actually, there's a movement in some schools to actually teach kids, both really young as older, different kinds of stress reduction and anxiety reduction techniques like mindfulness meditation, deep breathing, different kinds. I've even heard of schools teaching students how to do yoga, having periods of time that are silent and quiet. And actually teaching people how to be in touch with their own physiology, like what's happening in their body when they're nervous or anxious about something.
I think that they definitely need to do more, like, they need to have more understanding with students who are they're diagnosed with anxiety, because I know that for me at least, I have a lot of trouble doing like presentations or stuff where I have to speak out loud, like in the front of the class, especially speeches. I'm not good at speeches. I had to do a couple of those over the years, and I'm not good at those, and those make my anxiety go off the charts. So I think teachers need to try and be a little bit more willing to work with students and compromise.
Some personal ways of coping are following some simple breathing exercises. You can find a guide online, or remembering to breathe in for 4 seconds and out for 4 seconds, changing the time to what works best for you. You can also try meditation or yoga. These all work best in quiet settings. If your symptoms get too hard to manage, consider seeing a professional.
So good sleep is good sleep hygiene, as they call it. And I think things like regular exercise is going to be really important. You can change your physiology for the better with regular exercise, particularly exercise that makes you sweat a lot. So if you get on a spin bike or you're out running or anything, that actually changes your physiology, and for the better. It's going to give you some endorphins that are going to help lower your stress. So those are kind of automatic things that you can do. And then things like, if you have Say you have a test you're getting ready for. It's rather than cramming at the last minute, it's taking the time, or a project you're working on, taking the time you need, you know, setting kind of a structure to get things done. So, yeah, it's using your time wisely that way.